Welcome one, welcome all here on your wonderful show, Sankofa, looking backwards at the future. And your host is Maponga J. With me tonight are two important, wonderful, beautiful elders who are taking us through the conversation in terms of African men and African leadership. We are having our own conversations as men. And by the way, on Saturday, I had an opportunity of spending part of the afternoon with Mkhulu Credo, not Credo, Credo is on my mind, Kane, John Kane, and Masizas and the rest of the guys, Billy Sele Kane, again having men's conversations around this toxic masculinity story and etc. And I feel maybe the conversation of today needs to delve a little bit deeper into finding the architecture of the destruction of the African society and how that is now manifesting itself in terms of the African men. And to help me navigate on this complicated subject, I thought I'd find other men with white beard like us. You know, it's when you see in my village the men with white beard come together to talk, then the young boys with the black beard must sit down and listen a little bit, because we have become the mirror now of what the past could have looked like, which some of these young guys might have never experienced. I was fortunate enough, my grandfather lived past 100, and he brought me up. I grew up finding him sitting on his chair, and next to him was a smaller little chair, and my grandmother sitting there, and they'll be talking for hours. And I was wondering, these guys have been together for more than 60, 70 years. What are they talking about? And those relationships lasted for the longest of time. I have with me here Mkhulu Nsingiza, as you have met him first time, and I told you I will bring him back from Zinzi Mandela Foundation, and also the leader of the GAC, which is a great empire of Kemet. Beautiful organization. I've paid them a visit or two there. He's doing a wonderful job on the continent in terms of restoring the time calendars, restoring the dignity of the Africans. And honestly, I think one of his strongest points and his voice, if I had a way of finding a microphone, I'll turn up the volume. The issue that we're running an economy that is actually based on European systems, and we are basically as Africans sponsoring the colonialists to constantly destroy us. It's a shame. It's a shame. And next to him, what more can we expect? He decided to bring his stick with him, Mkhulu Buntu. And he's here with us again. Some young men are here also, who is working tirelessly in terms also for rebuilding the greater African men conversation. So I will throw this, actually, maybe let's do this interview differently. I'll throw the ropes at you. Do your opening remarks. What do you think this is all about? I throw the microphone at you, do your introduction, what do you think is all about. Then you come back to Mkhulu now, and maybe you can run up and begin to do some interviews so that we can actually have some common ground. So maybe let's start off on top with some opening remarks in terms of what is this concept of African leadership in the African home. I'll start with you, rather.
Mkhulu, Maponga, thank you so much for the invitation and for being on your platform and for collaborating with you. We are live on Massive Metro, we are live on Facebook Live. We are with the Unstuck, the Definition of Manhood show, but we're also here with Sankofa, a show that we have grown to respect and really honor for its honest voice of the African world, the conversations we need to have, and the conversations that for too long we've been quiet about and scared and intimidated to have. Now it's no time for intimidation. Now there's no time for fear. So tonight we are talking about African men and leadership, and we're talking about, are we good leaders? Do we see good male leadership across the African world? What should be good leadership? And prior to this, we have started the discussion. Actually, we've been together for an hour on the Unstuck platform, and we have started to presence the importance of seeing African male leadership, first starting with spirit and being in a constant complementary role with the African woman. And these are some of the skills that we have lost through the colonial trajectory and pain and the many layers of what history has done to us. I'm very honored to be part of this discussion in conversation with Mkhulu Nsingiza and Joshua Maponga, who work so tirelessly in this field of change and want to see improvement of us as African people and hold us to a high expectation, which I think is actually what we all need to do. So we are concerned about African male leadership because we see many wrong performances of it. We see many men not really getting it right, and women too. But today we really want to look at it particularly from a men's point of view. And we have gone into some of the questions already, but I want us to start. We have presence the home, and we have said that the home is supposed to be the first school in life. That's where you're supposed to start to be molded into what leadership and this world needs from you. So I would like to presence a question with my brothers right here, both Mkhulu Nsingiza and Mkhulu Maponga. What do you see? Why is African male leadership often spoken about in problematic terms as something that has been given?
I was going to ask him to give us some key remarks, some opening remarks on top of the program, just to give us an overview of what you think the African community, African society, reflecting back from where we are coming from, at the conundrum and the plight to which the African man is now. And maybe as an old man now looking at two worlds and you can see them clearly and begin to say, where do you want to place the man in the 21st century, particularly the African man?
Oh, sure. In the spirit of sankofa, that is where we need to start, going back, you know, and take what is of value, where we come from as African people. Another thing is that we have decided consciously ourselves to ignore the tried and tested form of governance of the continent, of course. And there will be no future without the restoration of Ubukhosi. Because Ubukhosi gave us that harmony. Ubukhosi gave us that dignity. Ubukhosi gave us that respect, you know, for everybody. You know, I'll make an example. Inkosi, the father of Ushaka, Utiwa Yangena Unandi without, you know, him marrying Unandi. Then, you know, the peers Zaganandi went and revolted Eskodlweni. Uguti, the king has insulted us.
You violated one of us.
You have violated one of the
saying that to the king.
To the king. Do you understand? So there was harmony. So as long as we are still pursuing this Western construct, you know, that came with colonizers here, we won't find peace and harmony because this doesn't resonate with the core of our being. We need to go back to what gave us, you know, a balance and structure, you know, a tried and tested for. Because remember, the land wasn't taken from politicians. The land was taken from kings and queens. So this is where the restoration is necessary, because the way we are continuing, we are violating one of the most sacred, you know, laws that were left by our ancestors and their ancestors as well. To say that we are then going to allow some of the kings and queens, they died in defense of this identity and the land and the culture, you know, for us to just give it away like that. So we are violating those laws, you know, that trust between ourselves and our ancestors, to say we died, you know, to defend this identity and culture, but you guys
see no value in it.
You don't see any value, and this is what, you know, this is the value of an African child. If you teach an African child about who they are and you know, who their ancestors were, you know, we are then bringing true value. We are bringing true healing amongst, you know, those children.
The
DNA. Because the minute we define, you know, leadership based on what we've been told about the leader, we are still missing the mark. We need to go back, you know, to really articulate exactly what our ancestors called. What did they call leadership? Who was a leader? You know, and what were the attributes of a leader?
Over to you, Ndatibu.
Yes, I think, thank you so much for what you shared, Mkhulu. This is a very important discussion, and I wanted to maybe, let's start with us. we sit in different positions. We work with different events. We gather people together because we are concerned about our continent. And maybe to come to you, Mkhulu, Maponga, what do you find the most challenging about your own leadership role?
I think first and foremost, with that two words, I think maybe Mkhulu will help me here. Maybe let's just take it one from another. There is, I want to break leadership, but I want to use traditional indigenous language, so that ukona umonga meli, ukona umbusi. There is a leader, that, and there is what we call a governor, or I don't know, you can't find a beautiful. Those are even better.
Yes.
There's a way in which you can lead, and leading means you're walking in front. Ukubusa, it's like you are driving people from behind. I wanted us maybe to look at that construct.
Sure.
Mkholi no mbusi. Ukubusa has to do with me ruling over you and dictating to you how I want you to run. Whereas Mkholi is with someone with the shepherd ideology,
right,
where the shepherd is walking in front and the sheep are following behind. Whereas the other one is where the shepherd is behind with a whip, now driving, beating the sheep and etc., pushing them in a certain direction. Now, when you look at the conundrum or the crisis that I have, I've gone to school, and what I was taught is how to govern. Hence, we even with like governance. You must govern people. You need,
sure,
you need to booster people, and this boostering concept gets itself home. Where exactly, now you want to booster the wife, you want to booster the children, sure, you want to boost. Whereas the other side of ukuhola, sorry, English is poor language. It does not have. You won't be able to pick up the texture of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Whereas mauhola, you are the one in front holding the panga, beating the Jew. You know, if there's an enemy, European men won't understand why an African man carries less, and the woman is carrying the bigger baggage and the child, and the man is carrying only a noble.